You ready, Jimmy? Okay. Georgia. I wish I could sing. Georgia. We on the grind in Georgia. Oh. That was a song. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Stronger Money Mindset. Man, I am grateful to be here. Is it just me, or it's been an interesting week already? We just halfway, and it's been interesting. Anybody had an interesting Thanksgiving? I'm the only one. Yeah, I got some family. Hey, interesting Thanksgiving, man. Welcome back. I'm excited even more so because this series, I get a chance to go over some tips, especially right now during the holiday season. These tips right now will be critical. And it's important for us to not only leverage these tips right now during the holiday season, but try to do it throughout the entire year. It's difficult because you got family. And as the holidays pass, remember to give to you. Remember to give to you. And I think sometimes that's the hardest thing to do because we're a species of just nurturing, right? We always want to nurture and help and guide. So give to you this holiday season. So welcome. I am Coach Kev. I'm grateful and I'm elated to give you this information today. And I want you to think about a few things. First, I want you to think about some holiday tips. Now, the first one I want you to really gauge is, so for those of you who have credit cards, did you know when you make payments on your credit cards, depending on the card, sometimes they give you this thing called rewards. Did you know you can actually use your rewards to help pay your bill? The first time I caught this, I was excited. I started charging stuff the same week because I knew I was going to get some rewards the next week. So that's the first thing. Use the money that you already have or the savings you're already going to get and put it towards your actual bill. I want you to really think about that part. The other thing is negotiate. Now, ladies, I learned my first negotiation from my mother. Powerful negotiator. And my mom will look you dead in your face and tell you, I'm not paying that. And then you have a blink contest. Whoever blinked first loses. So negotiate this holiday season. Don't just be okay. Here's an example. So crazy. It's crazy. So yesterday, a guy came by. So I have in our area, we don't have HOA. So anybody could just knock on your door and solicit you. So the guy comes and he solicits us to try to get us to take advantage of some gutters, right? Do you guys know my wife kept the estimate from last year? Y'all caught that? Last year, it was $1,300 for the same gutters. He quoted us $950. And guess what I did anyway? Can you do it for $800? Negotiating. And most people wouldn't realize that yesterday's price is not today's price. But always be willing to negotiate, especially that. Protect yourself. A lot of identity theft is happening. Every 3 seconds, somebody's identity is being stolen. And it took me a while to really be conscious of this, because I know anytime you do a transaction, we get those alerts. Is it you? Yes or no? And you can almost stop it. But what I hate about the process is fighting the bank to get your own money back. So how do you protect yourself? Be mindful of the websites you're going on. Be mindful of just anybody leveraging your credit card. And don't give your credit card to anybody because right now, this is where fraud is at an all-time high. One of the things that I want to share with you also is use a list, a shopping list. I remember being in a situation where I would go, and I don't know if anybody else does this, I would go shopping in the grocery store with no list. Now, ladies, I know y'all would never do that. I'm that guy that, you ever see that guy walking up and down? You're like, I just seen this boy in aisle 6. He got to go back to aisle 6 and then back to aisle 8 because I wasn't organized. So just like that in the grocery store, have a list of people that you want to get a gift to. Now, it's important for you to stick with the list. Stick with the list. Because sometimes our heart is bigger than our pocketbook or our wallet. Last minute shopping, remember December 12th, that's Green Day. This is where, quote unquote, they put the last promotions out. I think it goes all the way to December 31st, honestly. But there's something actually called Green Day you don't know about, where entities push their last promos out so they can make a lot of money, so to speak. Give gift cards. Now, I want you to know when we give gift cards, I want you to think about, usually with the gift cards, there's maybe a $3 to $5 charge. You guys realize that? So be mindful when you're giving a gift card, right? Make sure it's a gift card that they're actually going to use. One of my favorite gift cards to give, she said it, food. Publix, Walmart. I've never had anybody turn down Publix or Walmart gift card. I've given gift cards out and they still have it a year later because they don't use it or they don't go to that place. Expensive lessons I had to learn. So you definitely want to leverage gift cards. I will always recommend food, as she said so fast. Use apps to help you save money. This is one thing that we have to really master, especially right now in this day and age, because when you go to places, they say, do you have an account? And you just scan it. Get in the habit of opening up your app and then scanning it. That's going to help you save money. One of the things that my wife and I started to do, it doesn't matter your financial situation, you always want to have a spirit of saving, have that spirit of building. So Costco, right? We all know about Costco. If you try to go to Costco to get gas, you will run out of gas trying to get gas. That makes sense? Literally, you're going to run out of gas. So here's the trick we got them with. Soon as the kids get dropped off, go get the gas 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. Nobody's there. Another tip. Did you know when you get if you don't have that Costco membership, I'm going to tell you something. Not only do they allow you to build rewards if you get the executive, but you can count those. You get 2% back at the end of the year. Now, that's something we're going to get all the time. Gas. You sometimes pick your place. Some people say Mobile. Some people like Chevron. I even know people that love the 7-Eleven gas. I say whichever one's cheaper. Costco is definitely a good opportunity. You don't miss that. The other thing I want to mention to you is this. Now, this is a complete side note. I gave you a lot of information on things that you can do this holiday season to help you save some money and put yourself in a position. But tonight, I also want to talk about 7 things that you could be doing, or 7 things you can share with people that you know so they can put themselves in a position of home ownership. One of the things that I love about what I do is we get a chance to change lives. And I'm always going to say this, but success is not for the chosen few, but for the few who choose. This video, hopefully it plays all nice and sweet. I want y'all to check this out real quick.
This is
Nope. I think y'all will be able to hear it if I put the mic here. Yeah.
Who lives in a poor neighborhood. He has a friend named Kevin who lives in a wealthy neighborhood. All of Jamal's neighbors are African American, and all of Kevin's neighbors are white. Because Jamal's school district is mostly funded by property taxes, his school is not very well funded. His classrooms are overcrowded, his teachers are underpaid, and he doesn't have access to high-quality tutors or extracurricular activities. Kevin's school district is also funded by property taxes, so his school is very well funded. His classrooms are never crowded, his teachers are very well paid, and he has access to high-quality tutors and lots of extracurricular activities. Kevin and Jamal live only a few streets away from each other. So how come they're growing up in such different worlds with such different opportunities for success? The answer has to do with America's history of systemic racism. To understand it better, let's look at what life was like for Kevin and Jamal's grandparents. Decades after the Civil War, many government agencies started to draw maps dividing cities into sections that were either desirable or undesirable for investment. This practice was called redlining, and it usually blocked off entire black neighborhoods from access to private and public investment. Banks and insurance companies used these maps for decades to deny black people loans and other services based purely on race. Historically speaking, owning a home and getting a college education is the easiest way for an American family to build wealth. But when Jamal's grandparents wanted to buy a house, the banks refused because they lived in a neighborhood that was redlined. So Jamal's grandparents were not able to buy a home, and because colleges could prevent them from attending through legal segregation, their options for higher education were really scarce. Kevin's grandparents, on the other hand, got a low-interest loan to buy their first house and got accepted into a handful of top universities, which traditionally only accepted white students. This opened up a wealth of opportunities that they were able to pass on to their kids and grandkids. Even as late as the 1980s, an investigation into the Atlanta real estate market showed that banks were more willing to lend to low-income white families than to middle or upper-income African-American families. As a result, today, for every $100 of wealth held by a white family, black families have $5.04. A 2017 study confirms that redlining is still affecting home values in major cities like Chicago today. This explains how Kevin and Jamal inherited vastly different circumstances. Unfortunately, the story doesn't end there. A big part of systemic racism is implicit bias. These are prejudices in society that people are not aware that they have. Let's go back to Kevin and Jamal. Against all odds, Jamal manages to be the only student from his high school to get accepted into a great university, the same one that Kevin and his high school friends are attending. But after Kevin and Jamal both graduate, Jamal notices that his resume isn't drawing as much interest as Kevin's, even though they graduated from the same program with the exact same GPA. Unfortunately for Jamal, studies show that resumes with white-sounding names get twice as many callbacks as identical resumes with black-sounding names. Implicit bias is one of the reasons why the black unemployment rate is twice the rate of white unemployment, even among college graduates today. You can see evidence of systemic racism in every area of life. The disparities in family wealth, incarceration rates, political representation, and education are all examples of systemic racism. Unfortunately, the biggest challenge with systemic racism is that there's no single person or entity responsible for it, which makes it very hard to solve. So what can you do? The first thing you can do is work towards becoming more aware of your own implicit biases. What are some prejudices that you might hold that you're not aware of? Second, let's acknowledge that the consequences of slavery and Jim Crow laws are still affecting access to opportunity today. As a result, we should support systemic changes that create more equal opportunities for everyone. Increasing public school funding and making it independent from property taxes would be a great start so that poor and wealthy districts can receive equal access to resources. Systemic problems require systemic solutions. Luckily, we're all part of the system, which means that we all have a role to play in making it better. Peace. This is Jamal. Jamal is a boy who lives in a poor neighborhood.
So I want you to think about that.
You know,
As we help people, it's important for them to be educated on what's going on. It goes back to building wealth. It goes back to the opportunity to build wealth. And when you think about opportunity. It sounds so simple, but most people won't have the opportunity unless you help them have the opportunity. Whether it's telling them about somebody else, whether it's you giving them encouraging words saying you will be a homeowner. But because of what's going on, this is the reason why I will continue to commit my life to helping as many people become homeowners. And the age doesn't really matter. Wherever they are, we're going to meet them where they are and figure it out and help them. But the dream, I was telling Pastor earlier a story about how it took my wife and I 2 years to be homeowners. 2 years of saving, 2 years of being disciplined, 2 years of telling my brothers, no, you can't use my credit. Y'all know what I'm talking about. 2 years of saving. And even though I was saving, families sometimes think you saving for their emergencies. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She know exactly. She had an emergency this week. But we got to be disciplined and give to ourselves. It's very, very important. Here's 7 things I want you to think about. The first thing is developing a budget. Now, one of the things I had to do, I needed to get real. Everybody say get real. I had to get real with myself. I was looking at $2 million homes. You ever heard them say you got wine taste on the beer budget? That was me. I was living it. I was living it until the realtor said, you need to be making at least $800,000 to afford this house. I said, oh, okay. Regroup. Zillow, here I come. But I needed to create a budget. And then I started being very aggressively disciplined. Saying no the times when I really wanted to say yes. It was very hard. Now looking back, oh man, those hard decisions paid off. The equity in our home went up over 100,000. Just think about that. My wife's biggest problem with me is that I invest too much. She said, boy, you better stop. You want me to go give it to Chick-fil-A? What you want me to go do? You want me to go give it to another? It's for us. The disciplines, the money coming in. And also I had to create a savings plan. So what I did was, and I want to recommend you do this if you're not a homeowner. If you're already a homeowner, you can tell someone this. Figure out how much money they need to save. If they're looking for a $250,000 home, the rule of thumb, you need to be saving at least 10%. Go for 20% because unexpected things can happen. You can get into a bidding war, but if you don't have the budget set aside, you're going to be out of the game. And what happens is a lot of people from all over the country come to Florida, #1 retirement state, and they come in with cash. But if you have good credit, you have down payment, you have a budget, you'll be in position to win. There's a lot of first-time home buyer programs that you want to think about. They're all over. You could go on Google, check them out. I'll give you one example. Broward.org, you can go on there, click menu, hit housing, and there will be tons of programs. Now, some of these programs run out of money. You got to be patient. You got to be patient, and you got to keep chopping the wood. Keep at it. If we have the vision to help as many people become homeowners, why? So they can build wealth. Why? Because we understand when we have wealth, it puts our kids in a way better position. Think about what they said on the video. They talked about the grandparents first. If my grandmother would have known how to position herself when she first came from Jamaica, I probably would have got a home in my 20s. My nephew is 23 years old. He's a homeowner. We're cutting the learning curve. We're cutting everything down. But he's receiving the information and he's applying the information. So you can always go on Broward.org, figure out different things that you need to do. But I think the first thing is getting a budget and really believing that you could become a homeowner. There's so many different loans, FHA loans, VA loans. It's all these different type of loans. Now, there's pros and cons with a lot of these loans. My wife and I did not get a FHA loan because some of them have stipulations, meaning it has to be your primary resident. You can't sell a home between this time. You can't rent it out. But some people have a situation where they want to take advantage of the FHA loan. So if that's for you, do it. But I want you to explore those loans. Don't feel like you have to do this on your own. Someone's going to help you. You just got to ask for the help. A lot of people fought just so you can become a homeowner. It's serious. I don't even think I was alive when this was happening, but it benefited me. We have to keep the fight going. Think about what they're saying. Stop racial discrimination now. It's still, by a show of hands, you guys feel like it's still happening today? We got work to do. New Jerusalem's not going to be the only pillar in the community that's going out to change. We have to be individuals going out, marching, showing people that they can do it. And again, you don't have to go and do a talk. You can just simply tell your friend, look, you're renting right now. You will be a homeowner. Here's some of the stuff I did. But if we have that spirit of helping, we'll put them in a nice position to win. Do things you have to do to improve your credit. You guys should know about multiple series. Credit is definitely important. I'm that guy. But there's things that you can do outside of investing into working on your credit. There's things that you can do personally, like pay off some debt. Maybe you have to figure out a way to generate some extra money to be able to pay off debt. Maintain a healthy set of credit cards. Most people, as soon as their credit score go up, guess what they go do? Use it. I'm going to show you guys some things that you want to avoid once you get pre-approval. But remember, the higher your credit score, the lower your interest rate. The lower your interest rate, the lower your payments. You definitely want to report your rent. Ask someone to add you to their credit cards that you can trust. Now, I told somebody this last year, and they had the wrong person. They added them to credit cards that they were not paying on time. If my wife adds me to her Victoria's Secret card to help me build my credit, to build credit history, but she don't pay the Victoria's Secret card on time, her credit score going down and mine. Blind leading the blind. She just brought me down with her. But there are some glimpses of hope. There are people that are, and you shouldn't pay for this. That's another tip I want to give you. There are actually people out there that have this as a business, meaning they will charge you $2,000-$3,000 for you to ride their credit. That is illegal. Do not pay anybody for that at all. I highly recommend you do that with somebody who you trust. And if you don't have anybody you trust, then invest into 2 secure credit cards. Why secure credit cards? Well, you don't have to have a high credit score. Anybody can invest into a secure credit card. You can go to your own bank right now, tomorrow, and say, hey, do you guys offer secure credit cards? But why would you do that? To help you start establishing and building credit organically. Yes? Good question. Well, there's 2 separate trade lines, right? So let's say hypothetically you get 1, but every time you pay that monthly bill, your score go up 10 points. If you got 2, your score goes up 20 points.
Okay, so you just measure the fact that they are credit cards. It is looked on as two triggers.
Yes. Yeah. And now it could get a little sticky because I would tell a person if they already have maybe about 5 accounts, maybe they already have 8 trade lines, I may not recommend they get 2 more, right? I would recommend let's tackle what you got, right? But definitely a good question, right? Also, maybe you're in a situation where you need to find some extra money. That was me. When I wanted to purchase my home, I told the loan officer, the first question he asked, how much can you afford to pay on a monthly basis? I said, you know what we say, I don't want to go over this amount. Then you start adding everything up. And I went from renting to owning. Ooh, that was a whole nother mindset. I couldn't call the landlord when the stove go out. I couldn't call him when I had something wrong with the toilet. I'm the landlord. So I had to figure out a way to bring some money in to bring down my debt. So in case an emergency happened, I got my own emergency fund. You do have home warranties and things of that nature, but maybe you're in that situation. Research neighborhoods. Oh man, this was probably the funnest part of me looking for a house. Man, you could call me a professional open house goer. Boy, if you had an open house in your neighborhood, I'm pulling up. I pulled up into homes that I knew I couldn't afford, Delphine. But I was just, can I go upstairs? Went upstairs, I started dream building. I started believing that I could become a homeowner, but then the reality hit on what I could afford. Then I went into the attitude of just gratitude to even be in the position to be a homeowner. And I started thinking about, man, what if I went as far as I'm not getting a home unless it got a pool. Disrespectful. God has put me in a position to own a home, and I'm saying it gotta have a pool. Do y'all know that was one of my, what they call it, deal breakers? When I purchased my home, it did not have a pool. I went to that realtor like, if this home don't have a pool, that's a deal breaker. I signed that down in the line with no pool. It had everything else. But I put aside the budget to be able to invest into it. So I was going in Miramar. I was going in Pembroke Pines. I was going in Davie. I went to Southwest Ranches. Anybody went to Southwest Ranches? Boy, Southwest Ranches make you regroup, right? Make you just think about life. I started knocking on doors like, what did y'all do for a living? And then it made me realize back to my budget. See, the people in Southwest Ranches, some of them have the income, but most of you don't realize to maintain their lawn is probably more than your yearly salary. And taxes. So it's important for you to know as you go into these different neighborhoods, know your budget, know what you could afford, but dream build. And have the energy of you're already a homeowner. That was the hardest thing for me to do because I was going back to pay rent. I had to believe that I was going to become a homeowner. And one of this was my wife's. Her pet peeve was no HOA. Now watch this. Tell me how many neighborhoods you can find a great home with no HOA. Most of them is gated and it's HOA right now. Think about that. Most areas is gated and they have HOA. And guess who can't control a HOA fee? Us. So think about if you want to purchase a home with an HOA fee or not. Put that in your budget. And when you're going on Zillow, if you're going to research or you're helping somebody research, make sure you definitely, factor in HOAs. I think the lowest I've seen is 600 in 1 month, but it also depends on what it includes. Factor in schools. I put the birdie in my wife's ear and said, I just want to move to Port St. Lucie. You guys remember it was a once upon a time everybody was moving to Port St. Lucie in Georgia. Everybody, I'm going to Port St. Lucie. But then they'll drive back here on the weekend because there's nothing to do in Port St. Lucie. My wife looked me dead in my two souls and she said, boy, we're not going to Port St. Lucie. You need to make some more money. I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That was a reality check. Why? It took us years for the kids to get into that charter school. It goes back to what that video talked about. The budgeting comes from taxes. That feeds the ecosystem of the school, which helps with our kids' education. But their first teacher is us. That's a big one. Here's 3 different websites that you can delve into if you want to dream build a little bit. 2 of them you probably know. Zillow. Everybody heard of Zillow. Redfin and Trulia. So these are websites that you can get on just to look at some homes in your area. Sometimes they have a 3D view where you can look at it in 3D. And if you see an open house, pull up. And when you pull up to these places and these homes, check them out at night too. Check them out during the time when it rained. We know in Hollywood, man, 1 inch of rain, you almost in flood city. So look at those things when you're purchasing your home. See if it's elevated. See if it's on an incline or decline. All those things matter. I'd rather take a new roof over a pool. I'd rather take impact windows. Those are the things that you want to look for, especially when you go on these sites. And again, check them out. If you know anybody who probably don't believe that they're going to be a homeowner, just tell them get on one of these sites and start dreaming again. That's literally where it starts. You got to believe. And if you already own a home, get a second home, get a third home. Pre-qualification, a pre-approval. That means you got qualified, you can start hunting. Now I'm gonna tell you, you can already start hunting before you get pre-qualified. That's what I was doing. But the reality is you need that piece of paper from the bank saying, okay, you can afford this much. I was still going in a $2 million home. It didn't matter. And what's interesting is that now looking at it, now I think I could afford $1 million home, but I won't do it. Kids 15, 16, what I'm gonna do, buy the house? Kids get out the house the next couple of years, it's gonna be me and my wife looking at each other in this big old house and we gotta pay all these bills. It's very interesting when things change and how your perspective will change. But once you get pre-approved, you can start hunting for a home. And I would recommend go under your budget. Example, if you get approved for $500,000, see if you can find a house for $400,000. Maybe your budget is not $500,000. Maybe you get approved for $800,000, but you really need to be looking for a house for $380,000 because that's within your budget. You don't want to be what we call house poor. All your money going to your mortgage. I've seen it too many times. One of my friends, he's in Texas. No, he's in Illinois. That's the other friend. He's in Illinois, and he's $85,000 behind. Now, I said what any other normal person would say. You should just let the house go. $85,000? And I said, where do you think you went wrong? I got too much house, Coach Kev. I went over my budget. No, I was trying to get off the phone so he don't ask me for the money. No, the bank didn't kick him out yet. But I do hope he get that resolved. But the other thing that you want to do, once you're in a position you get the pre-approval, continue to save. Continue to save, continue to save, continue to save, continue to save, continue to save. And as you're going through the hiccups, the ups and downs of home ownership, stay the course. But you got to be focused. Here's a good acronym for you to remember to stay focused. Follow one course until successful. And it's so easy to do. So easy to say, so easy to do, but you got to believe it. Follow one course until successful. It's like relationships. It's like jobs. When I used to work in corporate America, you know how many times I quit in my head? I quit like every Thursday. I quit. But I came back. Because the reality was I couldn't. So I had to follow one course until successful. And I mapped out the plan to retire myself from corporate America. But it started with I got mad. I got mad. Remember too, as you have more money, continue to save, but it's a negotiation tool. I remember when my wife and I purchased our home, the realtor came back. First of all, she didn't forget me because I was the only guy that walked in the house and said, as soon as I walked in, I'm like, this is my house. That lady, she was like, what's up with this guy? So like, this is his house. We actually got the house. But she came, so she never forgot us for that. And it was $5,000 extra. So we got into a little mini bidding war. So she said, well, the other person's saying they can give an extra $5,000. Can you match? Now, mind you, I did what I'm telling you to do. I kept saving. I did not know that it was going to be a bidding war. And I said, sure, we can do the extra $5,000. Boom, I was excited. I'm like, whoa, we got this house. Oh, we got this house. She came back. She said they put in another $5,000. I said, y'all trying to scam me. Can you do another $5,000? Here's what my negotiation, because I remember when I walked through, I said, yeah. Can we get the fridge? And can we get that washer and dryer she was going to take? They said, yes, sir. My point to you is keep saving, keep having your budget, negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. It's power if you allow it to be power. Be disciplined. It's okay to call something that's yours. You got to command it. You got to declare it. And I think that's one of the challenges, really believing it's possible. Here's some of the pre-approval mistakes a lot of people make. I almost made one. So the first one is, so I ended up, I think I was at a 740. I was trying to get to a 760. So my wife and the loan officer tells me, babe, don't apply for nothing else. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to apply for anything else. But I remember I had this one card that I wanted to apply for. It was by Discover. I ended up getting approved for the card. But when you run your credit, I got hit with an inquiry. Oh my God. My wife called me and was like, boy, I told you that. I told you not to do that. It actually helped in the long run. But at that moment, I should not have acquired new credit. Don't make a major purchase. Don't buy a car. One of the challenges I see a lot of people when they get close, they pre-approve, they credit score up, they know it's up, and they turn around and go get a car. That'll throw you completely out because now your debt to income ratio is off. You can't afford that new car and the mortgage based off what the lender sees. So don't make a major purchase. Don't move large sums of money around. They did not tell me this. So I call myself Pat trying to be smart. I pulled some money out of my Coinbase, which is a cryptocurrency account, and I moved it in the same account that the bank was looking at. They were like, sir, how you doing? We can't count that money. I'm like, hold on. that's like 15,000. We can't count that money. We don't know where it come from. I said, well, it came from Coinbase. At that time, Coinbase, you know, like how our bank statements, you can see a header and you can see that it's coming directly from the bank. Coinbase didn't have that. So I moved that money around into an account that I should not have. So here's my point with you on that. Advise whoever's going to help you get the loan before you move any money. Don't move any money if you don't really need to have to do it. Or move it in a separate account outside of the account that you're going to be sending to them through your bank statements. Don't co-sign for a car. Number 5, most people don't quit their job, but they change jobs or they get laid off. Now, if you get laid off or you change jobs and you're in the same industry, you could write a letter, you'll be good to go. But this is a major pitfall that people do. They go change jobs and it takes them out of qualification because you need to be employed for at least 2 years. That is critical. That one tip alone, we can prevent people from getting themselves out of qualification. It's like you getting a treat and you giving it back. Get advice from a real estate professional. Of course, I'm a loan officer, but if you have a family, friend, somebody you trust, get it through them. Whatever you need to do. But just understand that home ownership is very, very important. And I feel more and more people invest more on things that have nothing to do with progressing them to home ownership, all because they're not aware of how important it is. It was very, very, very hard for me to believe, and I know it's crazy to even say, but it was hard for me to believe that I was going to be a homeowner. It was very hard for me to even believe it. But when I walked in that first house that was not mine, to that open house that I just pulled up on, open house, everybody welcome. It's like church. Everybody welcome. But I highly recommend anybody pull up at one of those open houses that'll not only infuse you, but it'll give you the confidence that you'll be a homeowner as well. Also, I'm not only equipped with information, but I'm very resourceful, meaning if it's something I don't know, I'll find it for you. And you need to connect with people who will be resourceful to help you or people get closer to becoming a homeowner. Last few slides. Explore fixer-upper. Maybe you're in a situation where you want to get a specific loan where, maybe the home is not to your par yet, but there are specific loans that you can get into. They will give you the money to help repair the home. That's an option. Now I'm gonna give you a disclaimer. You remember that focus thing I told you about? You're gonna have to follow one course until successful. You gotta have the patience of Job. Because this is not gonna be a straight process, but it's gonna be worth it if you wanna get a fixer-upper. It's like 203 loans. Here's an example. So there's some pros and cons. Now, I'm gonna give y'all the cons real quick. No DIY. So your cousin June, who's not a certified contractor, and he's not documented, you can't use him. I'm sorry. I don't care what he tell you. You can't use him. It will take long to close. I mentioned that. Not all lenders do it. The company I'm a part of, we do it. And it is a lot more paperwork. What's the pros? You get a chance to get a fixer-upper, which is cool. $30,000, and sometimes, depending on the program, they have additional program where they give you more money that you can use to help fix a house up. 3.5 down payment, and one of my personal favorites, you build equity faster. Because remember, they're going to look at the comps, meaning look at the homes in the area and see what those homes are valued at. And if you come and you get what's the thing that ladies always look at? The kitchen and the bathroom. But there's more to it. The kitchen, the bathroom, the impact windows, and the roof. If I had to give you those 2 extra ones. Those are critical. But these specific loans can help you if you want to get a rehabilitation project, but be patient with it. But it'll be worth it. And that's not a loan most people know about. Check out this before and after. Look like a whole new place. Yeah. Oh, I saw you calling me earlier. Oh man, I didn't know that was you, Jennifer. Well, definitely, I'll talk to you right afterward.
Yes.
But I want you to get. Oh, you had a question. Go ahead.
So how does the lender determine the value of fixer-upper? So in the sense of how much
It's gonna be an appraisal.
on the replacement cost of future costs?
It'll be for future costs because they have estimates. They're going to be able to figure out, like even look at this one. If you look at the house, I mean, not the house, the kitchen next to it, you can clearly see cabinets. They modify, look like they did the floor, things of that nature. So they're always going to give you an estimate, but there will be appraisal done to figure out what would be a good amount, and they'll be able to give you that money. Now, obviously, you would only use it to be able to make the house better. But I do know that are you looking for that kind of loan yourself, or is it just a general question?
I want to have it answered, but
Oh, okay. Most people, when they say fixer upper, I'll usually have a side conversation with them because they definitely need to be prepared for the patients. And right now, we're in a certain society where it's a microwave society where they want everything fast. And you could tell them till you blue in the face, it's going to take 60 days. Guess what by day 2 they doing? Jennifer, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Right? So, but I'll go a little deeper to that. But remember, it takes planning. It takes patience. It takes belief, in my opinion. And I think at the end of the day, one of the things that I'm gonna continue to do, I have a speech to do on the 29th. I got to travel out again, and I'm noticing that as people come up to me to become homeowners, no matter what their situation is, I'm a hope dealer. I ain't say dope dealer. Make sure y'all, Pastor, I did not say dope dealer. Hope dealer. I'm telling them you will be a homeowner, and they're actually believing me over themselves. So all of you can do the same exact thing. You have nieces, nephews, grandkids, strangers, people that come up to you. Home ownership will be possible for everybody if they push it. Now, what's stopping you from becoming a homeowner? Huh? Prices? So here's what I would say to you on the prices. Are you prepared though? Meaning credit's good, savings good, you're just waiting for prices to, well, prices I don't think is gonna go down. Interest rate may modify. But I want you to think about something. You could do this research now or later. In the 1980s and 90s, the rates was double digits. That's true. It was. But we can't go back. They not gonna go lower. I don't think they're gonna go lower. So what I would do is either buy down points, meaning you have enough revenue, you can actually buy down points, buy percentages down on the interest rate, which not a lot of people are doing that, or just wait for the interest rate to go down. I don't think we're gonna see 3s or 4s like in the next, I don't know, 5-10 years. Maybe 6s, 7s may be possible. So it's 7s right now. 8s, of course, is happening. It's touching. It's day to day is changing. But if you're waiting for price to go down, oh yeah, me and you gonna be waiting for a long time. But I do believe that if you, you know what area you want to live, you want to live in? Hey, Port St. Lucie. I'm telling you, Port St. Lucie, you know, if you're willing to go to a different area, you know, they have $250,000 home. See, I'm thinking of this area because, boy, they got, you know, I remember it was once upon a time, $250,000. That was a layup. $150,000. So, but if you're saying wherever the price is gonna go, you might want to go to Port St. Lucie, girl. That's an option. Yeah.
I remember one time you told us a story about a friend of yours. You went to visit her, and she was like a 1-bedroom condo or something like that. Tiny.
Paying a whole bunch of money?
No, I don't want her to pay a whole bunch of money. I was just buying something. You know?
Oh, so that's a good point. So maybe just starting off with something, right? So is it just gonna be for you, the house? The house that you want?
The only something you can afford now is condos, and they want to tell you that you can't rent out and how long somebody gonna visit you.
Mm-hmm. Got you. But I'm saying the home you're looking for is for you, right? Just. Oh, you are a homeowner. Okay. Oh, you trying to get that second and third home. Ooh, we need to talk to her. But that's the idea. That is the idea. So what I would recommend to you then, maybe you want to look for land. That's a possibility. Look for land. Clearwater is good. We're looking right now in Tampa. It's building up, but believe it or not, Port St. Lucie. It's just different counties. Maybe you want to look into land, or maybe you want to get 2 plots of land, wait for the developers to come and buy you out, and then use that money to get the other property. So, yes.
The possibility, speaking of that point, the possibility where it's cheap, I might not want to live. I may not want to reside in
That was me.
certain spaces. The possibility of buying property, a house, fixer upper, another state, other cheap. That's where they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to live there. I want that to pay for where I want to live.
Gotcha. Well, so let's say, for instance, she was to do not you, but a person was doing an FHA loan. Now, if it's their first home, if I'm not mistaken, that got to be your primary resident, right? So if it's a secondary property or investment property, then yes, investing into an area outside of the state of Florida. But then again, you still want to know what area you're in, just to make sure it's conducive. Even if you want to rent it out, you want to make sure it's in a good area, because most people, when they're looking for properties, one of the first things they're looking at, if they have kids, school. You know, how's a grade in the school? How's the zoning in reference to that? But possibilities are endless. But you working on that second property, which is good. So you got a few things you could chew on. Think about outside the state. Think about Port St. Lucie, different parts of Florida. You can also, on that Zillow that I showed you, you can just put the city in there and then see what homes in that area. And, man, you can play with that too. It'd be 2 in the morning you'd be playing. You find 5 properties.
No, I tried to do that. I called the realtor for the land. I was down there.
Oh, well, that was perfect.
But they never did, like, they asked me the information, and they took the information, well, differently than them. So that's how, you know how you just
So hold on, wait. So let me specify. Use these websites to find the properties, but then get with a realtor that you know, or find a realtor locally. Put the bird call out. Hey, you know anybody who's a realtor? Somebody who you know to connect you with that person to help connect the dots. If that makes sense. Because yes, sometimes you may have a person, you tell them about a property, you just gave them the birdie, and they about to go. So it can happen, but we're going to rebuke that in Jesus' name. Yeah.
I know that you're saying, of course, saying you said a lot, but from way back, of course, when you took, that had already been told, especially to black men, so a lot of people already ran there. But there's so many other surrounding areas that's there, that's got some really good, like, places we never even heard of. You know, some of those smaller towns, we have American, you know, but we have some relative, not relative, but friends in those different areas. It's just, yeah, it's just, you're talking about him itself, of course, it's a different situation from, okay, town might shut down at such and such 8 o'clock, so, but if it's for other reasons, you may not have to. And that is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever property you got, somebody will call it the office. We'd be like, every, and we got, okay, you want to sell the property? And so, you know,
Mm-hmm.
sell that, you know, to buy another.
See with the land.
Building is a building.
So you're on point with the idea with the land. You can leverage it, but just finding the right person you could trust. I know a realtor you could trust. You know, I'm sure you know people you could connect with them.
And in less than 2 years, in less than 2 years, Next already hit them up, because they coming from that area.
So is it down payment? Is it more income? What is it? My situation was credit, and I needed more income for me to get approved for the home that I wanted. I was not settling. My mom taught me never to settle. So it took me 2 years with my wife diligently going after it and aggressively and being very disciplined and saying no and following through on it. And there was so many difficult moments because families, it seemed like when you start saving for what you want, everybody got an emergency with your money. And I had to stay the course, and I did. So that was the last slide. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to hear me out. Anybody learn anything today? Yes.
Well, no, I was first, yes, we learned something. But I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
The hope dealer.
Yes, hope dealer.
I wanted to ask the hope dealer. How difficult is it in our community with the video that you showed, for us to break out of this eternal rent cycle?
I feel, I don't think it's difficult. I think it just need to be a coalition of people aware that it's possible. You have to have people committed to showing a person just with words at the beginning, it's possible. But even with that video, most people have no idea that redlining is happening, and it affects, it's a domino effect of it. But I'm just gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep fighting. What I could do every single day is talk. What I could do is respond, help an individual, answer questions, do lives, do presentations, be the resource. Just do this. Stronger money mindset, right? Whatever I need to do to awaken individuals. But I do believe that people are more awake now than they were 5 years ago. I believe that. Because right now, it's in your face more. Real estate is in your face. Interest rates, it's in your face more, like now. So people are becoming more aware, in my opinion, and renting. I actually had somebody tell me last week, Coach, boy, it's cheaper for me to rent, bro. He's like, I might as well rent. And I said, how much equity you building? I said, Mike, you got sight, but you don't got no vision. You're thinking about right now. So that's the challenge. People are thinking about it right now. Now, it is good for a certain extent for a certain demographic. But as homeowners who are the owners of the home, bills increase, insurance increase, taxes increase, you can't say anything about it, and they sticking it to you, and you either gonna conform right, or move. Perfect example in reference to renting. Side note, it's thank you for asking that question, Pastor. My father-in-law was at our house on Sunday. We were celebrating his birthday. I told my father-in-law, I said, his name is Kevin. It's great. I know. We can talk about that later. It's great. His name is Kevin Robert. I'm Kevin. My sister-in-law's husband name is Robert. Crazy, I know. His name is Kevin Robert. So I said, Kevin, you know, I got one regret. He's like, what's that? What's that, Kevo? He called me Kevo. I said, we should have pushed you 3 years ago to buy your house. The people that he's renting from raise his rent 4 times. So I think the problem is with the renting, they're getting comfortable. The only thing that pushes the dog off the nail, it hurts so bad, that payment. It's getting out of their hand, meaning you can't, when the landlord told him $1,900 for a 1-bedroom, he was regrouping. He was like, man, I need to try to fix. And that's the thing I think that's pushing people more and more now to look for a way out. They're being forced. The nail is hurting now, boy. Whew. Yeah. Oh, I think I struck a nerve. What's up?
I know a married couple, you keep saying homeowner to be a homeowner. Nowadays, it's impossible because the houses got, for example, I have a friend, they're married. They only qualify for $200,000. You can find a $200,000.
No.
Exactly. So how can, and they married with both.
You know what I would tell them?
Pre-approved with 200 something.
Okay. The two things. Either they debt, they got to make more income.
But just for their situation, but even for anyone else with their houses.
For them, for anybody, I would tell them, get their debt down, make some more money. Because the houses, they're not going to, or pick a different place you want to live. We're talking about here now, right? I don't even,
Talking about other than here.
yeah. Well, I'm saying for that couples,
When you talk about not for Florida, are you pushing for home ownership, right? Not for Florida, right? It's anywhere else here, right?
I'm pushing home ownership wherever. Just be a homeowner. You close your eyes. If you want to go to another state, do that. But the building block of home ownership builds wealth. You build equity. You could borrow against the home. You could take the equity from that home and then roll it to another home and then roll it to another home and roll it to another home. You can start a business. Like it's just. We not them landlord. Can somebody lock her up? Is she for? Did she just say you a landlord? Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. I knew it was something. You threw me off. That makes sense now. She plotting. But okay, so just so you know, you always gonna have customers. it's not going to stop. I promise you. Because just as concrete as I am, or as we are on the importance of homeowner, there will be somebody that's going to be excited about renting. Right? Yeah.
Another thing that works for us back in the day was for us to do. Rented for many, many years, even over in Tampa area, it was our property, we rented out. But things that was no problem to us, we had the real estate, a good quality real estate company to collect that for, and pay them that small percentage, which gave us no headache, because now you go, you might get shot. With them going, they can go, they can get the extra money because they're late, all that kind of stuff, and all this went automatic.
So yeah, we're advocate for home ownership no matter where they are. But I do believe renting people will continue to rent. But I strongly believe we're turning the ship. More and more people, man. If look at the statistics, you have people who are in their 20s or 30s that are becoming homeowners faster. Now the amount is different for every single person, right? The prices that they're paying in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, is not the same prices here. However, around the entire country, it's going up. But if we just what did Tupac said? I may not change the world, but I can spark the brain that will, right? I don't know anybody ever quote Tupac before, but there you go. He actually said a lot of good things too. What's up?
Yeah, just a kind of change another issue that older homeowners
Mortgage. I don't understand a lot about it myself. So do you think I should do maybe a series on it? Okay. Literally. So that sounds like a lose-lose. So the purpose of a reverse mortgage is to help the senior not have to pay those. Does the bank? Okay. Oh wow. Well, for the bank, it's an investment. Yeah, they just gonna wait to cash in when it's time. That made me want to call my mom and ask her about that. Make sure she don't got no reverse mortgage. Okay.
Part of what they'll be saying is correct. But equity in now you take a seat. Who owns them? Who owns them?
Mm-hmm.
Term you use is that your house rich, that you cash. So part comes with management of outlet, and it's different. So you have a elder who have equity in it. They're not working. So they're sitting on this.
Mm-hmm.
Up and do it. So they're sitting on the equity. The elder, they're black. Could be sick. Could be not. Could be doing for everybody forever. Could be doing nothing for themselves. The light could come on. They could want to send the smart one to school. They could. So you get the dream piece could be all over the place. However, the equity in the house is the equity. dream, whatever you got going on, or issues you got going on, if the equity, family issues you got going on, if the equity in that house, that number helps you in your gray haired years accomplish what you desire, then it makes sense.
Got it.
After, what Bill says, after your demise, your family has a year to pay back that. Or decide to. So it's like they're inheriting the debt of the house, whatever you utilize. If you didn't use, only what you utilize. But now it's up to them if they want to keep that home. They pay whatever. They pay the $10 you use back.
Got it. And they pay it back, it stays with the beneficiaries, which is the kids.
They have a year to do that. And if they don't do that, then the deal is the bank will take the cost. They paid they gave you the money, made available the money for the equity. So how do you use it? If you use
Amen.
If you use $10, even if you did it and you use $10, you're paying $10.
Got you.
So that's the deal.
I'm gonna look into that. That's value right there.
And if our $10,000 back, the property value is worth $300,000.
And it'll go
So
and
you pay the $6,000 back, you get it back.
yeah, so
All right, thank you guys for joining us on Stronger Money Mindset. We're having an incredible discussion. You should be here in person. We'll see you next time.